Hello, this is Survival-gyver, and today we're taking a look at the Mira CM-8M full-face respirator or gas mask, if you want to call it that. You may recognize the design from both video games and in real life. This is used by a lot of military and law enforcement in all sorts of situations. Law enforcement typically use it for like riot gear, and we're going to discuss the reason why. Unfortunately, that's going to keep showing because some of this is glossy, and that's how my light shows up. All right, so this says modern full-face respirator developed for tactical CBRN and riot control situations. CBRN is chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear. So all sorts of good stuff it can be used for. Now I did another, I think I did the CM-6M a year or two ago, which was one of my more popular videos. Awesome gas mask. This is actually another one that I've been wanting for a long time. And Mira Safety has been very, very nice to me because I'm still going through a lot of drama with my father passing away in August, and now we're in November. So they've been very, very patient with me. They've sent this to me a while back. And it's now November because I'm redoing this video from what I had originally had, because I lost a lot of my videos when my hard drive crashed. Anyway, I'm going to be showing, there's going to be a short, or at least a little compilation video later on, if I could find my B-roll footage of me using this gas mask in various ways to get used to it, because I'm used to the CM6. The 8's a little bit different, and let's get into it. Alright, so this is an unboxing. Alright. Oh, before I flip it around. Contents: Mira Safety CM-8M protective mask and a canteen. Because you can actually drink from it, just like the CM6. And this has the seal still on it. There's some information for you back here. Made in the Czech Republic. The CM-8M, I don't know if you can read that there or not. Full-face respirator is the next generation of CBRN masks specifically designed to exceed global military standards thanks to a unique new visor design. It provides unparalleled visibility combined with optics capability and a 6-point mesh head harness for maximum stability. Like all Mira Safety CBRN gas masks, it also provides trusted protection from full spectrum of toxic industrial chemicals, or TICs, and chemical warfare agents, CWAs, including gases, vapors, aerosols, radioactive dust, bacteria, and viruses. So if we have another COVID, this might be a really good option anyway. So technical data, it's about 560 grams. There's only one size. Effective field of vision, minimum 90%. Overlapping field of vision, minimum 85%. Intelligibility of talk, which is probably better than how I can talk, is 95%. Because it is a gas mask, even though there is a like a way to talk through here, you're going to lose a little bit of preciseness with it. All right. So the face piece material is bromobutyl rubber. The visor material is a polycarbonate. The filter connection threads is an RD40 by 1 1/7 inch. So it's 40 millimeter NATO. So 99% of the gas masks that are sold in military and law enforcement applications are a 40 millimeter NATO. You can find them just about anywhere. And I do highly recommend you get quite a few of them. And they're all different ones. And I'm hoping at some point in time, if I do well enough with this channel, I'll buy one of each of the Mira filters and do a comparison between them all. So hopefully that'll be coming up sooner rather than later. Okay, so breathing resistance at 30 liters a minute of airflow. So again, because you are breathing through a filter, you gain some resistance in breathing. It'll be a little bit harder to breathe. than normal, but negligible unless you're an asthmatic. In which case, I'm an asthmatic. And it can be difficult to breathe in certain situations, and I'll show that in a later video. When I was trying to get used to this mowing the lawn, getting really weird looks from neighbors, but mowing the lawn, it was strenuous because I'm on a hill, and I was using an older filter, so that has something to do with it as well. There we go. The exhalation resistance is a max of 60 PA. Inhalation resistance max of 30 PA, and they're in Texas, so that's cool. All right, so let's take a look at this. So there's also some little notes in here. There's all sorts of things on the side here. There's a drinking system we're going to go over, the visor we're going to go over, the rubber we're going to go over, the speech diaphragm. That's how you say it. I couldn't think of what it was called. The speech diaphragm. The head harness and the 2 filter ports. I'm not going to put any filters on this because they're expensive. To use just for show without me having the ability to reseal them properly anyway. So I'm not going to put a filter on here. They also give you storage information, what temperature range and humidity range in order to get the longest life out of it. It also has an expiration date. So this is September of 2042. We're in 2025 now, so we got a ways to go. The reason there's an expiration date on this is after a while the seals will start to dry out and may not give proper coverage when you need it. So there's a reason for that. It also says, if I can read this here for you, proper use of this full face mask and deployed filter cartridges require reading and understanding the enclosed instructions, respect the limitations and warnings. Misuse may result in sickness or death, especially depends on what it's being used in. Users must adequately be trained. The correct use of this product, users accept all responsibilities for necessary training. So what does that mean? Say if there's I live about 3 miles from a nuclear power plant. So they do testing here, alarms and sirens, and we get thyroid tablets mailed here. It's cheap, but we're right next to a nuclear power plant. We're pretty close to it. So say if there was a nuclear incident, but the filters you have are for smoke, for like wildfires, that would be not a good use of that kind of filter, and it could possibly kill you because it would be radiation as opposed to smoke, and vice versa. So that's what they're talking about there. Like, you don't want to use a radiological filter for pepper spray. Radiological filters also tend to be a lot more expensive than pepper spray, things that take pepper spray and things of that nature. Because pepper spray is only supposed to disorientate you, not kill you. There are always exceptions, but that's essentially how that works. Okay, so let's open this up. I'm going to use my, what is that, Grit R. Whoop, box was in the way. Knife. I actually really like it. It's really comfortable handle. There's going to be a review on this coming up soon. Very, very soon. Right? Shameless plug, right? Let's take a look inside. What's going on here? Okay. Typical fashion. They're already in a sealed bag. This is a canteen. We'll go over that shortly. Now, they did send me a filter, and I think I have it in my pile of other filters. So I can't show you that at the moment. But I'll get over the same filters that was in the CM6, and I will link it up there to give you more information about it. So I'm going to put this off to the side, essentially on my floor, as you can probably hear. So first off, plastic canteen. All right. Got some ratings on the bottom. Just a typical military style canteen. It's got a little port on top, right there, for you to connect to the straw that's on the bottom of the mask. So you can, there's a little push thing on there, you can drink through the mask. Now there's two ways to do that. You can use the canteen like this, and actually I like this canteen better than the one that came with the CM-6. Maybe I'll do a review between the two. I don't know why this one feels like it just seems to be better quality. I do like the cap and the rubber that's on here. It seems to be a better quality. It is a newer mask, so that might be part of the reason why. So, what does it say? Guzo 012. Alright, so Guzo, G-U-Z-O, Z-U, I believe is Slavic. So I tried to purchase these kind of masks and materials from, I think, the Slavic version of Mira. Like Mira, I think, is Slavic to begin with, and that's where they're getting their equipment from. Or it's a reseller of their stuff in Slovenia. Not sure, but seems to be really good stuff regardless. Move that up to the side. Here's the mask. All right, that's sealed. In a sealed bag. And the instructions. So I'm going to be going through this with you a little bit, just to give you some idea what's going on here, like general limitations and such. But let's open this up here. Like butter. I've been using that knife a lot, and it's always stayed really sharp. This thing will open far enough. This thing's going to end up on the floor too. Voila! Alright. That didn't come out as well as I hoped, but that works. Alright. So this is a gorgeous mask. So, let's talk about it. So we've got this nice rubber surround all around here, but you'll notice it stops about here at the top, because gives you room for if you have a helmet or some other kind of like a CBRN, if you're using one of those kind of looks like a poncho, like a chemical suit. This way it'll still come over the top of the hood. All right. Yes, you are. This goes on the back of your head, and you have a whole bunch of points. Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points where you can adjust it. So that's really cool. I also like that it's in the rubber. It says Mira Safety. And it gives you the EN136 1998. It's not a year and it's not a date code. That is a certification for use in pretty much the United States. There's also a European code as well, I believe. The CE 1024 is a European code. I believe the EN136 1998 is a American code. Class 3. Right? So that is a pretty big polycarbonate shield in the front. So you have a lot of visibility, because look, you can see right out, like your head's in here, because this is about where your nose is going to be, right in that section. So you have, it's just some dirt on here. I do not have the cleanest office in the world. That gives you like a panoramic view. I know it's at above 90%. I think we figured out to be about 93%. So once your head is in there, most people's heads would fit you get a really wide view. So even your peripheral view, because you can look, you can see right through it, right through the side there. So even your peripheral view, you'll have the ability, which is cool. Now, you'll see that it's got this little gap here and such. It's not an actually gap in the mask. You can see it goes all the way around. I'm trying to get it on the light here. You can see it. All right, so it's sealed all the way around. The reason you want something like this is if, say you were wearing NVGs, NVG is night vision goggles, or a scope, using a scope on a gun, or binoculars, or binos if you want to call them that, depending on what your terminology is. Or if you're even using iron sights or like red dot aiming pieces, you can do that too. It gives you a lot of room to be able to see up in there. There is a little bit of, let's have to clean out the inside here a little bit. Alright, so that is a huge amount of space to see. There is more numbers on the inside. You can see right through the lens there. There's a sticker on the inside, probably tell you when it was made or for their own information. The other side does not seem to have anything on it, but you're seeing this the same way I am. Of course, it's up to you if you want to take that out. You may not want to. It might be kind of important, but it's not going to really bother you either way. I mean, somebody might see it through the front if they look directly at it, so then you might want to remove it. Otherwise, your face is going to be in here, and this is pushed this way. You're probably not going to see it at all. So, alright. So here in the front you have your voice diaphragm, which is, let me see if I can show you on the inside here. Pull this back a little bit. Okay. Okay, it's really hard to see because of all the mesh in the way. I could probably really open this up pretty far, but alright. Alright, so see that metal thing at the bottom there? Right in the center? That is your voice diaphragm. So as you speak, it'll be muffled by about 5%, but it won't be bad. These things at the top here, these white things, are valves for inlet and outlet. It's actually, I believe they're exhaust. Let me see which way they go. Yeah, so they probably go outwards and then out the bottom. Now, you'll notice that there is this big plastic valve at the bottom. What the frig, right? Let's see, can I pull that back far enough? Okay, yeah, so you may not be able to see in there. I can't get it on camera that well. There it is. That piece there is your exhaust valve. So what happens is, when you breathe, in order to not fog up the inside of the mask, they vent it outwards, out of your mask, and towards your body, so towards your neck. And sometimes you can move them. I don't know if this one you can or not. I don't want to break it. Yeah, but that's what that is. That's your exhaust vent. These are your intakes. So you got a filter here, and a filter can go here. This one's blocked off. I usually just turn it and it will pop out. So this way you can run one filter or two. Now, why would you want to run just one filter? Well, if you are right-eyed and you're looking through your right-hand side, having the filter on this side, which is what most people would do, gives you a better ability to bring your weapon up in sight of your eye, because then the filter won't be in the way. You can run both filters. Again, it depends on what you're going through. I wouldn't put two different kinds of filters either. I would use one kind, because say if you had one that was for radiological and one for smoke, well, the one that's radiological, whatever that issue is, that radiation, or that chemical isn't going to go, oh, well, look, there's a filter I can use. No, it's going to go into the one as well, equally, into the other side where you're not protected. So it can give you slightly longer range or use of time, or depending on how bad the situation is, you may want to use two. Also, it looks really scary when you use two. So for people in law enforcement, you use two of them at the same time, that's a scary looking mask. And that's all it's about, is an intimidation at that point for law enforcement. But that's how that goes. Alright, so these just pop out so you can run. Now, again, so if you're right-eyed, which is this side of the mask, because if you're wearing it, that'll be your right-hand side. It's reverse when it's on camera here. When you're looking at it from this point of view, you can take this out and put it on this side, and then run your filter here if you're left-eyed. Makes sense, right? Alright, what is this weird thing in the front here? So we know this is the voice diagram. What is this thing? This, there we go, is your drinking straw. So this goes into the top of that canteen and allows you to pull a drink out of it. I do like that this one has a nice thick cover on it. I don't believe the CM6 did. I think it had a different kind. I'm going to have to do a comparison video between the two. So the downside to this is it's not particularly long. You're going to have to take this off your belt or off your drop leg or whatever you're using to plug it in, and that only gives you a little bit of time to use it. You know, actually it's supposed to be upside down, but that's how that works. Now there is a compatible water bladder, like a Camelback. Camelback actually makes a CBRN style Camelback pouch or water reservoir. I have not been able to acquire one. I've had a really hard time finding them. I've also only found it, I think, in coyote color. Couldn't find it in black or gray or OD green, or even clear for that matter, since it would be inside my pack anyway. Nobody would see it. But they do make a compatible bladder, and you need what's called a Type M adapter. Fortunately, it doesn't come with it, because most people can't find those bladders. Unless you're in the military, good luck finding it. I do like how this one, so you have a valve on the inside so you can open and close it to drink out of the inside. There's a hose right there. Oh, it would help if it was on camera. That hose right here in the middle. This is what you drink out of. Alright. When you turn it, it goes, let's see if I can get a better view of it. Get some more light in here. Alright, see that part that moves? That's to engage and disengage the drinking tube. So when it's like this, you can drink out of it. When it's like this, it's out of your way. So you can talk and drink separately, which makes sense. And it's literally just me turning this in the front here. Come on, focus. There we go. This is what that does. Alright? So when it comes in the package, it's straight down. This is out of your reach, I believe. Come on. This is the reason I don't like putting black parts on my channel, because it's hard to see. There we go. Yeah, so it's out of the way of where you can reach. And if I turn it this way, then it's in your view. Then you're actually able to get your mouth on that. I like how this is just loops up around, and it's got this little hook there, which goes onto this little hole there. You just have to give it a little bit of a stretch because it's rubber, and it sits on there securely. So that's kind of cool. All right. I'll put it back in the downwards position. So, what do I think about this? Let me pause the camera for a moment, put this on, and talk through it so you can hear if I talk any better or worse with this, because that would be the best way to do it. So hold on for one moment, please. Okay, so obviously now there's nothing on screen, and I'm talking through the mask. Is a loud exhale, which is just hitting me in the chest. Sounds like I have a nasally voice. There's a little reverb that I'm getting off it, and that's purely the diaphragm for its first use. It gets better over time, and I'm not talking any louder than I normally do. I typically don't talk very loud on camera or on speaker or on microphone, whatever you want to call it. So it only muffles it about 5, maybe 10% if I push it, but very little. Hey, the mask otherwise is very comfortable. I don't know. Yeah, so you can see. Hi, how are you? So it is on me, so you can actually literally hear as I'm talking. Breathing through my nose too, so that's nice. And I also have when you wear a gas mask, you're not supposed to have facial hair like a beard or a goatee, and I need a shave, but this does fit really snug around the side of my face. I really do like how much room I have to be able to see. So, alright, so obviously there's a lot of room there, which is really cool. So if I'm doing something that I need to be able to see properly, then this gives me a really nice amount of view. There's a little bit of a spot right in the center. I know you can't see it right here. Essentially, it's the nose piece where the nose comes on in the mask, so I see a small amount of it right in the center of my head. And other than that, it seems to be pretty good. And let me take this off. Oh, I definitely need to adjust that a little bit better. It was way too tight around my nose. However, I don't know how well you can see on the video or not, but your view range is awesome on this. So if I went back to playing paintball or something, or some kind of like tactical style sport, this would probably be a good way to go. Now they do make repair kits. They do make a microphone. Mira does make a gas mask microphone that's sold separately. I don't have one to show you. They do make replacement parts. They also make, I think the CM-6 had the option that you could put glasses on the inside. You might be able to do that on this. I don't know. I have to read the manual for that. So essentially, 20-year shelf life. This uses the widely available NATO standard 40mm cartridges, filter cartridges, not pew cartridges. It's a difference. Because I know somebody will say, "Oh, a 40mm cartridge off a grenade launcher isn't going to work." It's not that kind of cartridge. It's an air filter, and it doesn't necessarily have to be Mira as well. As long as it's a NATO compatible filter, 40mm NATO compatible filter, it'll be fine. I prefer Mira because, well, I've done a lot of research on gas masks between some of the other brands, and if I wanted top of the line quality and probable survivability, Mira is the way to go. There are quite a few other companies out there that do like industrial and more civilian style gas masks, respirators, that use like a 3M style triangular filter or a hexagonal filter. Those are for like spray painting and aerosols, like basic household aerosols, not made for something much more heavy duty, like being in a riot or wildfire, that kind of thing. You can have one of these in your car. Be careful in your car, because if you get pulled over, the police are like, "Why do you have this?" You're allowed to in the United States. You're allowed to have a gas mask. You'll just get some questions. I get it. But say if you're escaping from a wildfire and you have the fire cartridges, the smoke protection cartridges, you're doing good. Or if you're law enforcement, really important. If you're military, really important. If you're a prepper, this is definitely up there on one of the better masks you can get. So this has also been tested for a high amount of different kinds of high-cut helmets, military helmets. Also, this will also fit some construction helmets and mountain climbing helmets, rescue helmets, things of that nature. It'll work on that too. So if you're brush firefighter or wilderness firefighter, and you need to have a gas mask, depending on where you are, a respirator, because you can't have a Scott pack wherever you are. It is compatible with your gear, most of your gear. Most. I can't guarantee 100% because everybody has their own different kinds of gear. Right? This has got a hypoallergenic inner mask. That inner part there to prevent fogging even under hard use. So even if you're hyperventilating, it won't fog up. It is tested resistance to mustard gas penetration for up to about 30 hours. 29, 30 hours. So I don't know how many of us are going to be dealing with mustard gas, but the way the world is going, it's never too late to be safe, right? Again, you can use a single filter on either side to ensure proper cheek weld. Cheek weld is what it means when this fits up against your cheek, to help keep debris and everything out, and gases, of course. For left and right hand shooters, which is what we were talking about before. Right. Comes pre-installed with a hydration system and canteen. They do make replacement parts, so the baffles and the valves are replaceable, which is kind of cool. Conforms to European quality and sustainability standards, which is marked with that CE symbol. It also meets all requirements under EN 136 1998 Class 3, which is what those writings on the back were. Complies with all the standards underneath the EN 168 for impact protection. It is a polycarbonate lens. It's going to be hard to break. It's not bulletproof, but it's hard to break. So if somebody throws like a sandwich at you, like that one. The United States is weird. The guy threw a sandwich and got arrested for it. What are you going to do with a sandwich? Oh my God, I got salad dressing in my eye. What am I going to do? Really? So, that was pathetic. I know they're just trying to prove that, they shouldn't be touched or against kind of thing, but a sandwich isn't going to hurt you. This has a 1-year manufacturer warranty, made in the Czech Republic. This is also a perfect gas mask for riot control situations, which we've been talking about. So, now that you've seen the mask, let's go over, I don't know how well my camera's going to focus on two different items. The manual. Alright. So for your safety, descriptions, gas mask precautions and limitations, fitment testing, donning the mask in a toxic environment, negative pressure test, inhale. We'll cover these up, inhale, and it should suck right to your face. If it doesn't, then there's a pressure leak somewhere. So that's essentially how that works. Preparations for using an integrated drinking system, installing and using the optional microphone, installing and using optional spectacles. So you can put glasses in here. If you have prescription glasses, you can send them your prescriptions, and they'll put glasses in there for you. So that's kind of cool. Doffing of the mask, emergency use, termination of use, cleaning and disinfecting, storage, maintenance, disposal of filter elements, service and replacement parts, and 1 year limited warranty. So I do highly recommend that you read this. So, all sorts of cool stuff in here. Here I do like this note. I'm sure everybody's going to miss it. And we've already talked about this, where you should have two of the same filters. Full face respirator is designed for use with up to 2 gas filters at once. If a single filter is to be used instead, one of the ports must be sealed with the included 40mm port cover. That one, that one, you can take it out, put it on the other side, whichever side you need it on. The reason for that is because the filter will only protect you if you're breathing through the filter. I can't believe I had to say that, because it's common sense, in my opinion. But nowadays, it's wild that if you don't absolutely say it, somebody will be like, "Oh, I'll just save a filter by putting one filter on one side, and I'll be good." And you're still pulling air into a side that's not protected. So essentially, you're a dead guy in a mask, a perfectly good mask, or dead person. I can't say guy, dead person in a mask. So always have, if you're only going to use one filter, make sure you have the port plug on the opposite side so you're protected. All right? Can't believe I have to say that. Do not substitute or modify remote parts. Follow filter change schedules. Mask must not be used in an atmosphere containing less than 19.5% oxygen, which is what you currently breathe. Your air that you breathe is not 100% oxygen. It's significantly less. Reason for, if you go anything less than 19.5, you will probably suffocate. So, yeah. Just so you know. And you should know this anyway. It's only designed to protect the user's face and airways. The user will still be at risk of general body exposure to CBRN elements, meaning that the mask will protect you, your face, and your breathing hole, which is your nose or your mouth. Actually, when you start moving around with this, it'll be through your mouth. So you can get a lot more air in through your mouth than through your nose. But that this does not magically protect you, the rest of your body, from contamination. Donning this mask does not put on the Quill's Guardian of the Galaxy force field when he puts his mask on. It doesn't do that. This will protect your face and your breathing ports, your nose and your mouth. It will not protect your hands. It will not protect your feet. It will not protect your chest or your legs. Just your face and where you breathe from. Sadly enough, that has to be explained. This gas mask is not for entry or use in atmosphere immediately dangerous to life and health, where hazards have not yet been fully ascertained. So, what that means, in layman's terms, is if you're going into an environment that hasn't been figured out what's going on yet, like nuclear threat or chemical biological threat, and you say you throw a filter in here for smoke, for like wildfire smoke or something of that nature, and then you go into a place where there's a chemical agent like mustard gas or some kind of nerve gas, the filter will not protect you from that if it's not designed for it. So you're putting yourself in unneeded harm's way, thinking that the filter you have is the correct one. There are ways of testing it. There are ways of testing your environment to find out what's in it, so you can properly protect yourself with the proper filter with the mask. Right. Procedures for monitoring radiation exposure and full radiation protection must be followed. The respirator provides respiratory protection against inhalation of radiological and nuclear dust particles with a filter, not without. Because without a filter, you're just breathing it all in anyway. So, with a filter. Here it says, if the face piece is to be used with a camelback, connect the camelback hose to the drinking tube via a Hydrolink Type M master adapter. Again, I haven't found one of those, so I couldn't tell you what that looks like. Maybe one of these days. If during use an unexpected hazard is encountered, immediately leave the area for clean air. So, say if your situation changes, you go into you're trying to leave a building that's on fire, and you're wearing a mask, the filter for smoke. But your building is a nuclear power plant, so there might be a fire. But if the situation suddenly changes to something that's radioactive or some kind of chemical that the filter cannot protect you from, leave immediately. Right? So that just makes sense anyway. Use in conjunction with personal protective equipment, PPE, appropriate for protecting against thermal hazards, which is hazards to your skin. Failure to do so may result in personal injury, even if the respirator is properly fitted, used, and maintained. Again, it'll protect your face. It won't protect the rest of your body. Right? The respirator should not be used beyond 8 hours after the initial exposure to chemical warfare agents, to avoid the possibility of agent permeation. I have a hard time saying that word. If liquid exposure is encountered, the respirator should not be used for more than 2 hours. So, if left in a hazardous environment for a long period of time, it is possible, in just about any material, that the chemical can make its way through the material over time, by degradation usually. Never use the face piece if it leaks. If a leak occurs, there's a danger of exposure and potential poisoning. If you detect a leak at any point, evacuate to a safe environment where the face piece can be readjusted or removed and refitted. I'm not great at talking out in the open, in public speaking, right? They talk about how to don it, right? Face paste donning errors, you don't want it too high, you don't want it too low. Visual inspections. Got to make sure that there's a detectable separation between the face and hair, between the seal, because you can't seal hair. All right. Talk about microphone, screwing on the canister, all the stuff you should already know how to do, but just in case, it happens. They talk about operations in extremely low temperatures and extreme high temperatures. Right? Now, it also notes operating temperature of the mask ranges from minus 22 degrees Fahrenheit to positive 158 degrees Fahrenheit, or minus 30 centigrade to positive 70 centigrade for those people not using freedom units. Lower or higher temperatures should be avoided if at all possible. What would happen if you got this below 22 degrees Fahrenheit? What if you're driving through Alaska and you have it in the middle of winter and it's minus 45 or 50 degrees outside? This would probably not properly protect you from like wind chill. Eventually the material is going to freeze and become brittle. Now, what happens if it gets too hot? It's going to become very elastic if it gets very, very hot. Above 158 degrees Fahrenheit. So, near the temperature you boil water at, people say, oh, you boil water to purify at 212 degrees Fahrenheit. No, you just need to be about 160 degrees to kill anything that's in the water. But if you see it boil, then you know it's done. And you know it's dead. But if you had this mask on and you jumped into a vat of boiling water, you're dead anyway. Or extremely slow death because of the amount of burns you're going to have. But at some point in time, the mask will eventually fall apart. It'll become really malleable, and then you'll lose your seal. So that's what they talk about there. cleaning and disinfecting of the cleaning valve, of the drinking valve, storage, maintenance, like maintenance schedule if you want to go buy it, which you should anyway, and a warranty. So that's it. That is the Mira CM-8M. I know this is a long video, a lot of little points in here going through it. I might make a shorter video, but not at the moment, because it's about 2:30 in the morning here. All right. So that is it. Questions or comments, leave it below, and I will answer them as soon as I can. I will put a link somewhere in the early part of the video for the other mask that I did that also talks about the filter. Excuse me. I apologize for yawning, but it is way past my bedtime, because I got to be up in 3 hours for work. But that is it. So questions, comments, leave them below. Black Friday is coming up, and Mira has some really good sales going on right now. Even before Black Friday, right now, it's about $50 off currently. So that's not so bad. Also, use, I'll leave a link in the description with a code so you can get a little bit of a better deal. And it's a affiliate code, so if you do buy something through it, I get a little bit of commission, just because I brought it to your attention, kind of thing. And that commission actually helps a lot with keeping this channel going, even though it's been really hard lately. But I'm working on it. So that is all. Thank you for watching. Sorry for the very long video, and you have a wonderful evening. Thank you.